On September 2nd, CCP mouthpiece Xinhua News Agency summarized Foreign Minister Wang Yi's European tour, claiming that Wang's visits were, quote, sought of highly by European countries. Back between August 25th to September 1st, Wang visited Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, France, and Germany in that order. According to another CCP media, the Global Times, the goal of the trip was to, quote, consolidate the relations between China and Europe and voice support for multilateralism amid the U.S. unilateralism, trade protectionism, and repeated attempts to build a European alliance against China. In short, the Diplomat's columnist Eleanor Albert labeled the objective simply as, quote, damage control. While the Xinhua News article acknowledged that there were, quote, disagreements, it emphasized that Europe as a whole wanted to seek collaboration. Let's look at the public disagreements during Wang's trip. Norway. Norway is the only non-EU member on Wang Yi's list. In January, the nation will take its turn in a cycled position on the United Nations Security Council, a council where China holds a permanent seat. Last year, the CCP restored diplomatic relations with Norway, after a 9-year suspension in response to Chinese dissident Liu Xiaobo winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 2010. When asked at a press event in Norway how China would react if the Nobel Peace Prize would go to Hong Kong protesters, Wang labeled it an attempt to use the Nobel Peace Prize to interfere in China's internal affairs. Czech and Germany. On August 31st, Wang Yi told reporters in Germany that Czech Senate President Miloš Vystrčil's trip to Taiwan was a betrayal that made him, quote, an enemy of 1.4 billion Chinese people. He then warned that the top Czech Senate leader would, quote, pay a heavy price. German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas then responded, threats have no place here. At its last stop in Germany, Wang was also told specifically by Maas, quote, the new security law in Hong Kong was already a major issue at our last meeting, and you know from your visits to other European capitals that our concerns about the repercussions of the security law have not yet been eased. We want the one country, two systems principle to be applied in full, and the rights guaranteed in the basic law to be respected. Within the EU, we are agreed that this remains our yardstick for developments in Hong Kong, end quote. Wang Yi's performance. The CCP has already hit a wall with the United States. On September 2nd, U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo announced new restrictions that required senior Chinese diplomats to get State Department approval before visiting U.S. university campuses or holding cultural events with more than 50 people outside mission grounds. Political affairs commentator Yang Wei says that Wang's Europe tour really highlights the CCP's fears of Europe joining the United States against China. Ironically, Wang's behaviors and remarks didn't increase mutual trust, but instead highlighted the CCP's aggressiveness. Yang asked, can Wang Yi still keep his foreign minister job? Explaining that as Minister of Foreign Affairs, if Wang Yi has significantly weakened China's scope of influence in Europe, his resignation should be due to arrive soon. Adding to this, Wang Yi does not have any work experience in Europe or the United States. Rather, he studied Japanese and worked in the embassy in Japan. Since 1995, he has served successively as director, assistant to the minister, and deputy minister of the Asian Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And in March 2013, Wang Yi became Minister of Foreign Affairs. According to Yang Wei, Wang Yi's promotion to foreign minister was because of Xi Jinping and nepotism. Wang's father-in-law, Qian Jiadong, was formerly Zhou Enlai's foreign affairs secretary, and later as the CCP's ambassador to the United Nations in Geneva. Wang's mother-in-law, Chen Yan, served as deputy director of the Asian Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.